Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vijeta, and today I will be talking about a book that is quite dear to my heart because of the fact that this book was responsible for making me get into the world of audiobooks and to start loving audiobooks. And I realized one thing. A lot of people say that you can't listen to audiobooks because of the fact that sometimes your mind wanders and sometimes you're not able to concentrate fully on what is going on. And my answer to that would be um, actually, it might be a little bit, but I should say it. The thing is that you don't have to concentrate on each and everything that the narrator is saying. You should just be it play, like let it play in your ears. And you will realize after some time that if the narrator is good, you will be engaged in this story. The thing about content consumption is that you should not pressure yourself into listening listening to each and every word, or when you're reading anything, understanding each and every word. Most of the classics that I read or have been reading, I just read it. And after some times, I realize that after 50 or 60 pages or so, I kind of start getting invested in the story. So, to all the people, my humble advice, I mean, I won't say like humble advice in the say, I'm not like, I might be or might not be wrong, but the thing is that I started listening to audiobooks or I started reading classical literature because I just went on, just when I'm listening to audiobooks, I am just listening to it, and after some time, I realize that I am getting into the story. I'm kind of understanding it. And when I was beginning my audiobook journey, I used to do that. I used to walk and I used to listen to the audiobook. Sometimes I used to think, okay, my mind is wandering elsewhere, but let it wander. Just concentrate. You just keep listening. And if the narrator is good enough, if the story is good enough, in no time you won't even realize it, but you will be invested in the story. And this is what happened to me when I was listening to Prince of Shadows by Rachel Caine. Miss Rachel Caine is an author. She's very close to my heart because whatever stories I have read written by her, I don't know, I have had real attachment to the male protagonists of her story. I find them very sensible, very soft, and very genuine, even in the Ink and Bone trilogy. And there was a short story written by her. It was kind of a supernatural ghost story, which I listened to on a free trial when I was listening to, I think listened to her short story on Storytel. I'm not sure about that, but it was a long time back. And in that also, I was like really in love with the male protagonist. Even Prince of Shadows, I like Prince of Shadows and like Benvolio, but we'll come to that. And there's one more series by her. I don't remember the name of the series, but I think it is called the Resurrection series. I mean, in which the protagonist dies and then after dying also her body lives, and it runs on those lines. And I listened to that also on audiobooks.com. I think I listened to it on audiobooks.com, but I like the male protagonist in that also. Sadly, Rachel Caine died in 2020. And although I have seen that not much is talked about on YouTube, basically, of her books, but I think that her legacy will live on through her books and through her characters. And I think a lot of people will listen or read more of her books when they start listening to the audiobooks. And I know Rachel Caine is quite popular, like her Ink and Bone trilogy. It's not a trilogy, actually, it is a series, and it's very good. I have heard a lot of people talk about it, but I feel that she should be talked about more. But that is just my opinion. So, The Prince of Shadows, I listened to the audiobook version of The Prince of Shadows, and it was on audible.com, which is the USA marketplace. So that is that. If you really want to listen to Prince of Shadows, and if you are in the US or you want to explore other Audible marketplaces, you can go to your Audible and you can select the marketplace and you can select audible.com. That is the US marketplace, and you can get the Prince of Shadows audiobook, which is narrated by Kyle McCarley. And wow, what a narrator he is. Not only that, Rachel Caine has done this novel, outdone herself. I mean, the story is about, it is based on Romeo and Juliet. That is to say that the situation, the characters, the storyline, the city, and the time period is all of the time period of which Shakespeare wrote in Romeo and Juliet. But this time, the story focuses on Romeo's elder cousin, who is Benvolio, and Juliet's elder cousin, Rosalind. And Prince of Shadows here is Benvolio. He's like a year older than Romeo, but I liked the way his voice was done because the maturity, that sense of elder brother kind of like an elder brother has a different kind of aura, a different kind of orderliness is there in his voice, and you can hear that in Benvolio's voice. And Kyle McCarley has done such a great job of portraying Benvolio and all the passions, the emotions, his first meeting with Rosalind, his contempt for Rosalind's and Juliet's elder brother, Tybalt. Like play, the story starts with Benvolio in the bedroom of Tybalt. He is like robbing Tybalt, stealing something of Tybalt, like his dagger and all, because Tybalt insulted one of the maids of the Montague household. And basically Benvolio is Prince of Shadows, which is he's a thief who goes and he's a Robin Hood kind of thief who goes and steals from rich people and and he doesn't give it back. Basically, some of it he gives to his friend Mercutio, some of it he throws away or gives to the poor, and some of it he melts. And because there are some family heirlooms which should not be kept or sold because then he will be caught. So he gets them melted and gives it to Mercutio, keeps it to himself. And, sometimes he throws them away. But the thing is that not completely a Robin Hood, but yeah, he's a thief. And sometimes he just puts it on display. Like, for instance, when he steals Tybalt's dagger, uses it to he uses it for something very humiliating, and you can read it in the novel. So that is that. And basically, if I talk about the voice acting of Kyle McCarley, he has done a very good job of portraying the voice of Benvolio. Not only that, Romeo's voice and what is her name? Benvolio and Romeo's grandmother, who is basically the antagonist of the story. She knows everything about everybody, and she is like the old croaky lady, witch kind of a lady who is not your sweet grandmother. She is like, how can I say? She uses a chair, an armchair, which is built by the wood of the houses of the enemies that she has destroyed. So yeah, she's that kind of a lady. And she's basically the antagonist of the story. And her voice is very croaky and old sounding. And Kyle McCarley has done a great job of doing that. I mean, when I first heard his voice, when I first heard the audiobook, I couldn't believe that these were two different people. Romeo, he's a dreamy youth and just dreams about things, writes poetry, a typical poet. And his voice has that romance, that naivety, and that tenderness. I mean, not even tenderness, that youthfulness, you can say, and that teenage youthfulness, you can say. And Kyle McCarley has done that very well. I think a lot of people know Kyle McCarley. If you are into gaming and stuff, he has done voices for that too. And besides that, even the female voices, he has done a pretty decent job for Rosalind, for Juliet, for Veronica, because Veronica is also kind of an antagonist, although she is 14, but she has done some pretty messed up stuff. And her voice, that contempt in her voice, that bitterness, that jealousy, that annoyance in her voice. So that kind of thing he has captured very well. Rosalind has a very intelligent kind of a voice, and Juliet has a very naive, youthful, you get just like Romeo, she has that kind of a voice. Even Mercutio. Now, here is something very interesting. Mercutio in this book is basically portrayed as a gay person. He is very flamboyant. I mean, in the play also, he's a very flamboyant kind of a youth. And here in the book, it is quite stated quite openly that Mercutio is in fact homosexual. So that is something that is done here in the book very well, and that storyline is quite good, and it makes the story richer because if when you read the book, you will see that how it plays out into the actual plot of the book, which is actually the plot of the play itself. The beauty of the book is that the plot of the play by Shakespeare, it has not been hampered with, it has not been tampered with. The plot is the same. The circumstances or the actions that occur, they occur the same as in the play, but why those actions occur and what are the consequences of those actions and what are the uh, means of those actions, like what is the reason behind those actions, those are slightly altered, and they are altered very beautifully. I mean, you will feel that okay, this makes sense and it's very organically fitted. Like if you won't mind me saying, but this book is a very good fan fiction of Romeo and Juliet. It's one of the best fan fictions of Romeo and Juliet. Obviously, from the POV of Benvolio and Rosalind, even Friar Lawrence's voice, all those voices, they are done so well. The prince's voice, Lady Montague's voice, Lady Capulet's voice, Tybalt's voice, that that poison in his voice, that menace is in his voice, all these things are captured so well. And that is why I believe that an audiobook narrator can bring so much to a book. He can add so many layers to the book. He can add so many perspectives to the book. And it's an art in itself. I mean, a book is a book in itself, and when you read it, obviously you get a pleasure out of it, which is uh, which is quite unmatched. But when you listen to that book, which is narrated by another narrator, you might get some other perspective, some other explanation, some other emotions, some other feelings. Because I remember that the author of If He Had Been With Me, she said that she won't write a sequel. But I was in the bookstore one day and I saw the sequel of that book. And I was quite surprised. And I saw the publication date. It was released in I think February 24. So in the foreword, I think she said that the moment she heard the narrator narrate the audiobook version of If He Had Been With Me, and she heard her impersonation of the male character, she was like, she immediately got the motivation to write the sequel from his point of view. And I'm quite excited to read that novel. Hopefully, I read it, and hopefully, I will give a review of If He Had Been With Me. It was a very touching novel and kind of devastating as well. Anyways, so with Prince of Shadows, with the audiobook, there were moments in the audiobook where I was on the verge of tears. Um One of them being, spoiler alert, if I mean it's not a one that big of a spoiler, but still, spoiler alert, one of them being Veronica's death. When she dies, I was really moved. And the second being when, I mean, I was not teary-eyed. I was like, it was a very touching scene when Rosalind closes the door and she doesn't let Benvolio enter. People who will read or listen to the audiobook, they will understand of which scene I'm talking about. So other than that, Prince of Shadows, the audiobook is a very uh, rich audiobook. It's a very rich piece of art. And if you get the time, I would suggest you all to listen to it. And what can I say? It made me want to read Romeo and Juliet, the play itself. I mean, I have seen the movie, I mean, bits and pieces, and mostly I have watched the musicals, the Broadway musicals that have been done by Hungary, Germany, and all, even China, Japan. I saw all these versions of it, the musical versions, and I like them very well. Hopefully, I will review them someday. And if you want to check those out, I would suggest to watch the video of AC1. I think it is pronounced AC101. I will link that down in my detailed description box. And yeah, he makes multi-language videos of all the Broadway musicals, like he made of The Phantom of the Opera, the different versions of the same song, like the title track, which is done in Germany, France, Spain, and all. He has done of Romeo and Juliet as well. So you can check that out. The multi-language videos are beautifully done, and they show the richness and culture of different countries and how they adapt a play, a piece of art in their own way and make it richer. In the similar way, Kyle McCarley has adapted this book uh, and made it richer. And he has given his voice, but he has not only given his voice, he has given a more depth of character, a more depth to each and every character in the novel, and made it easier for the listeners or the consumers to imagine their favorite or not so favorite characters. And yeah, so I think it is worth giving a try. And that is all. Thank you if you have been listening to me. And do go and listen to Prince of Shadows. And if not, you can read the book as well. And I hope you liked my video. Any suggestions would be most welcome. If you liked my video, please give it a thumbs up. Comments are always welcome, and subscribe to my channel, and I will meet you all in the next video. Thank you.